Good evening, dear listeners. Welcome to this journey into the timeless wisdom of the Socratic method, a gentle path of inquiry that invites us to explore the depths of our own minds. As the sun dips below the horizon and the world quiets into evening's embrace, let us settle in together, perhaps with a warm cup of tea or nestled under soft blankets. My voice will be your guide, weaving a tapestry of ancient philosophy that soothes the soul and eases the day's burdens. Breathe deeply now. Feel the rhythm of your breath syncing with the flow of these words, and allow yourself to drift into a state of peaceful reflection. Tonight, we begin with the very heart of this method, an introduction that unfolds like a story from the ages, revealing how simple questions can illuminate the hidden corners of our thoughts. Imagine, if you will, the bustling streets of ancient Athens around 400 BCE. The air is filled with the scent of olive groves and the distant hum of the marketplace. Amid this vibrant scene walks a man of unassuming appearance, short, stout, with a snub nose and bulging eyes, often barefoot and clad in a simple tunic. This is Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, a thinker who never wrote a single word himself, but whose ideas have echoed through millennia, preserved by his devoted students like Plato and Xenophon. Socrates was no lofty scholar secluded in ivory towers. He was a stonemason by trade, a veteran of wars, and a relentless questioner of life. He believed that true wisdom lay not in proclaiming knowledge, but in recognizing one's ignorance. The unexamined life is not worth living. He famously declared in Plato's Apology, a sentiment that forms the bedrock of the Socratic method. As we delve into this introduction, let these words resonate softly within you, reminding you that self-discovery is a serene pursuit, not a frantic chase. At its core, the Socratic method is a form of cooperative dialogue, a harmonious exchange where open-ended questions serve as gentle probes into the assumptions we hold dear. It is not about debate or domination, but about collaboration, two or more minds working together to clarify ideas, expose inconsistencies, and arrive at deeper truths. Picture it as a dance of words, where each question leads to a step forward, revealing layers beneath the surface. Socrates called this process elenchus, a Greek term meaning refutation or cross-examination, but it is far from confrontational. Instead, it is midwife-like, birthing understanding from within the individual, a concept he termed meiotics, drawing from his mother's profession as a midwife. In this method, the questioner acts not as a teacher imposing facts, but as a facilitator helping the other to deliver their own insights. To illustrate, let us turn to one of Plato's most evocative dialogues, Meno. In this work, Socrates engages with Meno, a young Thessalian aristocrat, on the nature of virtue. Meno arrives brimming with confidence, ready to define virtue as something teachable, like the skills of a warrior or statesman. But Socrates, with his characteristic humility, begins not with assertions but with questions. What is virtue? He asks simply. Meno offers examples. Virtue for a man is managing public affairs well, for a woman, household duties. Yet Socrates probes deeper. Are these not just instances? What is the essence that unites them all? Through a series of gentle inquiries, Socrates reveals gaps in Meno's understanding, showing that his initial definitions are circular or incomplete. He doesn't provide answers. Instead, he guides Meno to confront his own contradictions. One pivotal moment in Meno involves a slave boy whom Socrates questions about geometry. Without prior instruction, the boy is led through questions to recollect how to double the area of a square. This demonstrates Socrates' belief in anamnesis, the idea that knowledge is innate, recalled through inquiry rather than taught anew. As you listen, dear listener, let this scene unfold in your mind's eye. The sun filtering through columns of the agora, Socrates sketching shapes in the sand, his voice calm and encouraging. Feel the tranquility of discovery, how each question peels away layers of confusion like petals falling from a flower, leaving only the pure core of truth. This is the Socratic method in action, not a tool for winning arguments, but for nurturing wisdom. But why, you might wonder as your eyelids grow heavier, does this ancient practice matter today, in our fast-paced world of decisions big and small? In an era dominated by instant gratification and information overload, the Socratic method stands as a beacon of mindful deliberation. It helps us challenge automatic thinking, those knee-jerk reactions shaped by habit, emotion, or external pressures. Consider how often we make choices on autopilot, scrolling through social media, accepting opinions without scrutiny, or following trends without pause. Socrates teaches us to slow down, to question the why behind our impulses, fostering a deeper self-awareness that leads to more informed, authentic decisions. Take, for instance, the realm of personal biases, those invisible filters that color our perceptions. Cognitive psychologists today, drawing from Socratic roots, identify biases like confirmation bias, where we seek evidence that supports our preconceptions while ignoring contradictions. The Socratic method counters this by encouraging us to examine our assumptions rigorously. What evidence do I have for this belief? Socrates might ask. What if the opposite were true? In decision-making, this translates to avoiding pitfalls like groupthink in workplaces or echo chambers in politics. Studies in modern education and therapy echo this. Socratic questioning is used in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, to help patients reframe negative thoughts, leading to emotional clarity and better life choices. As the night deepens around you, let this knowledge comfort you, knowing that by questioning, we can navigate life's complexities with grace. Now, to make this vivid and relatable, let's paint a scenario from everyday life. Imagine Socrates materializing in your living room, his presence warm and non-intrusive as you contemplate buying that shiny new phone advertised everywhere. The device gleams with promises of faster speeds, better cameras, and endless connectivity. Your finger hovers over the Buy Now button, driven by a surge of excitement. But Socrates, sipping from an imaginary cup of herbal tea, leans forward with a twinkle in his eye. "Tell me, friend," he begins softly, "what draws you to this phone? Is it a true need or the allure of novelty?" You might respond that your current phone is outdated, lagging in performance. He nods thoughtfully. "And what does outdated mean to you? Does it hinder your daily tasks, or is it merely slower than the latest model?" As you ponder, he continues, "What assumptions are you making about this purchase? That it will bring happiness? Improve your life in meaningful ways?" Gently, he probes further. "What are you sacrificing time, money, perhaps simplicity? How does this align with your deeper values, like mindfulness or environmental stewardship?" Through this dialogue, layers unfold. Perhaps you realize the impulse stems from social comparison, seeing friends with upgrades, or fear of missing out. Socrates doesn't judge, he simply illuminates. "Imagine 5 years from now," he whispers. "Will this phone be remembered, or the experiences it enabled? By the end, your decision feels empowered, not rushed. Whether you buy or not, it's yours, born of reflection." Let this story lull you, dear listener, showing how Socrates can be your inner companion, turning mundane choices into moments of serenity. Expanding this, consider how the Socratic method applies to broader decision-making arenas. In career choices, it helps dissect motivations. Suppose you're weighing a promotion that demands longer hours. Socrates might ask, "What does success look like for you? Is it wealth, impact, or balance?" This uncovers if the path aligns with your values or merely societal expectations. In relationships, it fosters empathy. Why do you interpret their actions this way? What evidence supports it? Such questions build bridges, reducing misunderstandings. Historically, the method's influence is profound. After Socrates' death in 399 BCE, condemned for corrupting the youth and impiety, his legacy lived on through Plato's Academy and Aristotle's Lyceum. It shaped Hellenistic philosophy, Roman thinkers like Cicero, and even Christian theology, where figures like Thomas Aquinas employed dialectical questioning. In the Renaissance, it resurfaced in humanist education, emphasizing critical inquiry over rote learning. Today, it's integral to law schools via the Socratic seminar, where professors question students to hone legal reasoning. In business, leaders use it for strategic planning, asking, "What if?" to innovate. Even in science, hypothesis testing mirrors Socratic doubt, questioning assumptions to advance knowledge. Delving deeper into why it matters for decision-making, let's explore its psychological benefits. Neuroscientists note that questioning activates the prefrontal cortex, enhancing executive functions like planning and impulse control. It combats decision fatigue, that mental exhaustion from constant choices, by providing a structured framework. In a world of algorithms curating our feeds, it restores agency, helping us avoid manipulative influences. For instance, when faced with misinformation, Socratic questions like, "Who benefits from this narrative?" reveal biases. Moreover, it promotes ethical decision-making. Socrates viewed virtue as knowledge. If we truly understand the good, we'll choose it. In Meno, this is debated. Can virtue be taught? Socrates argues it's recollected through inquiry, implying that moral clarity emerges from self-examination. Apply this to modern ethics, say, environmental choices. Why do I drive when I could walk? What assumptions about convenience am I holding? Such reflection aligns actions with principles, reducing cognitive dissonance and fostering inner peace. To enrich our understanding, let's revisit Meno in more detail. The dialogue opens with Meno posing, "Can you tell me, Socrates, whether virtue is acquired by teaching or by practice? Or if neither by teaching nor by practice, then whether it comes to man by nature, or in what other way?" Socrates feigns ignorance, turning the question back. "I myself do not know, Meno." This humility is key, admitting, "I know nothing," opens the door to genuine exploration. They discuss definitions, with Socrates using analogies like shape and color to illustrate that virtue must have a universal form. The slave boy episode is masterful. Socrates draws a square and asks the boy to double its area. Initial guesses fail, but through questions, "If this side is 2 feet, what's the area?" the boy realizes the solution involves a diagonal, creating a larger square. This recollection supports Plato's theory of form's eternal ideas we access innately. For decision-making, it shows how questioning uncovers latent knowledge, empowering us in uncertainty. Critics argue the method can be manipulative, as Socrates sometimes leads to predetermined conclusions. Yet, in pure form, it's liberating, encouraging intellectual independence. In education, it shifts from passive learning to active engagement, as seen in Montessori or inquiry-based models. As we approach the midpoint of our journey, reflect on personal application. Start small. Next time you choose a meal, ask, "Why this over that? What need does it fulfill?" Build to larger decisions, like investments. What risks am I overlooking? How does this fit my long-term vision? The method's relevance in mental health is striking. Therapists use Socratic dialogue to challenge irrational beliefs, as in Aaron Beck's CBT. Questions like, "What's the evidence for this fear?" reduce anxiety, promoting resilience. In leadership, it builds teams. Managers asking, "What do you think?" empower employees, fostering innovation. Culturally, it's adapted globally. In Eastern philosophies, parallels exist like Zen koans provoking insight through paradox. In African oral traditions, elders use questioning to impart wisdom. Now, envision Socrates in contemporary scenarios. Facing a political vote, what values does this candidate embody? Am I swayed by rhetoric or facts? In health choices, why avoid exercise? What assumptions about effort hold me back? The method avoids dogmatism, embracing aporia productive confusion leading to growth. In Meno, it ends unresolved, yet enriched. As evening deepens, let this introduction wrap you in calm. The Socratic method isn't just philosophy, it's a life tool for clarity, confidence, and peace. Tomorrow, apply it gently, question with curiosity, decide with wisdom. As we drift deeper into the tranquil waters of ancient wisdom, dear listeners, let us now explore the core principles of the Socratic method. Imagine yourself reclining in a serene garden at twilight, the air scented with blooming jasmine, as Socrates himself emerges from the shadows of olive trees, his voice a gentle murmur carried on the evening breeze. This method, born from his relentless curiosity, is not a rigid doctrine, but a living art, a symphony of inquiry that harmonizes the mind's discordant notes into peaceful clarity. In this chapter, we shall unfold its foundational pillars, questioning over answering, uncovering assumptions, and encouraging self-reflection. Each principle, like a star in the night sky, guides us toward deeper understanding, illuminating the path to wiser decisions. Allow my words to envelop you like a soft blanket, easing you toward restful contemplation as we journey together. Let us begin with the first core principle, questioning over answering. At the heart of the Socratic method lies a profound shift in how we engage with knowledge. Rather than rushing to provide solutions or declarations, Socrates emphasized the power of inquiry, prioritizing open-ended questions that invite exploration. Why, what, and how become the keys that unlock doors long sealed by superficial reasoning. Picture Socrates in the bustling agora of Athens, surrounded by eager interlocutors. He does not stand as a sage dispensing truths. Instead, he poses queries that compel others to delve inward. In Plato's dialogues, such as the Republic or the Symposium, we see this in action conversations where answers are not given but coaxed forth, like dew emerging at dawn. This principle matters deeply because our natural inclination is to accept surface-level explanations. In daily life, we often operate on autopilot, assuming that quick responses suffice. But Socrates teaches us that true insight blooms from patience. Consider a simple example. When faced with a dilemma, like choosing a meal in a hurried evening, we might default to habit. I'll have the usual, we think. Yet, applying this principle, we pause and ask, why do I choose this? What does it truly nourish in me? How might an alternative enrich my experience? Such questions transform the mundane into the meaningful, slowing the mind's frantic pace and inviting a soothing rhythm of thought. Historically, this approach challenged the sophists of Socrates' time, rhetoricians who prized persuasive answers over genuine discovery. Socrates, in contrast, viewed questioning as a form of intellectual humility. The wise man knows that he knows nothing. He professed a mantra that encourages us to release the ego's grip on certainty. In modern psychology, this resonates with concepts like metacognition, thinking about our thinking. Researchers at institutions like Harvard's Graduate School of Education have studied how Socratic questioning enhances learning, showing that students who engage in inquiry-based dialogues retain information longer and develop critical thinking skills. As you listen, feel the calm that comes from this. No pressure to be right, only the invitation to explore. your breaths deepening with each imagined query. Expanding on this, let's consider its application in decision-making. In a world bombarded by information from social media feeds to expert opinions, questioning over answering acts as a filter. It prevents us from swallowing unexamined claims. For instance, when evaluating news, we might ask, what evidence supports this? How was this conclusion reached? Why might there be alternative views? This not only sharpens discernment, but also reduces anxiety as we move from passive consumption to active engagement. In therapy, techniques like motivational interviewing draw from this principle, using questions to help clients uncover their own motivations for change, leading to lasting personal growth. Socrates' method was dialectical, meaning it thrived on back-and-forth exchange. Questions begat more questions, creating a spiral of deepening insight. In the dialogue Euthyphro, Socrates questions a priest on piety, starting with, "What is piety?" and probing until contradictions surface. This isn't aggression, it's collaboration, a shared quest for truth. In your own life, dear listener, try this with a friend over a quiet evening chat. Instead of advising, ask, what draws you to that path? How does it feel in your heart? Watch as understanding unfolds, tensions ease, and connections strengthen. Let this principle lull you now. The art of questioning is a gentle wave, washing away the debris of hasty judgments. Moving seamlessly to the second core principle, uncovering assumptions. Socrates was a master at exposing the unexamined beliefs that underpin our thoughts, much like a gardener gently uprooting weeds to allow flowers to thrive. Assumptions are the silent architects of our decisions, hidden premises we take for granted, often inherited from culture, upbringing, or experience. The Socratic method shines a soft light on these, revealing them without judgment, allowing us to reassess and refine. In the dialogue Meno, this principle shines brightly. Socrates engages Meno on whether virtue can be taught, beginning by challenging Meno's assumption that virtue is merely a set of behaviors. But what if virtue is knowledge? Socrates inquires, leading Meno to confront the gaps in his worldview. Through Elenchus, the process of refutation, Socrates demonstrates how assumptions, when left unchecked, lead to inconsistency. Meno assumes virtue is teachable like a skill, but Socrates' questions reveal the complexity. If virtue is innate or recollected, as the slave boy episode suggests, then our assumptions about education crumble. Why is this principle so vital for serenity? Unexamined assumptions often fuel inner conflict. We might pursue a career assuming it brings fulfillment, only to find emptiness. By uncovering them, we achieve alignment, a peaceful congruence between belief and action. Cognitive science supports this. Biases like the anchoring effect clinging to initial information or the Dunning-Kruger effect overestimating our knowledge stem from unprobed assumptions. Socratic questioning disrupts these, promoting humility and adaptability. Let us illustrate with a relatable vignette. Imagine a young artist torn between familial expectations and personal passion. She assumes success means financial stability, a belief rooted in her parents' stories. Socrates, appearing in her quiet reflection, might ask, "What evidence do you have that stability equals happiness? How has this assumption shaped your choices? What if fulfillment lies elsewhere?" Layer by layer, the questions peel away the veneer, revealing a core desire for creative expression. The outcome? A decision born of authenticity, free from regret's shadow. As the stars emerge overhead, feel this liberation. Uncovering assumptions is like releasing a held breath, inviting fresh air into the soul. In broader contexts, this principle transforms societies. Philosophers like Karl Popper built on it, advocating falsification in science, questioning assumptions to advance knowledge. In ethics, it challenges dogmas, Why do we assume this action is right? What underlying beliefs support it? This fosters tolerance and progress. In business, leaders use it for innovation. What assumptions are we making about our market? How might they limit us? Companies like Google encourage question storming sessions, echoing Socratic practice. Yet, uncovering assumptions requires gentleness. Socrates was often accused of sophistry, but his intent was purification. Approach your own assumptions with curiosity, not criticism. Start small. In a disagreement, ask yourself, what am I assuming about their intent? This diffuses tension, paving the way for harmony. Now, we arrive at the third core principle, encouraging self-reflection. This is the Socratic method's crowning jewel, fostering introspection that aligns decisions with our deepest values. Socrates believed the soul's care through examination was life's highest pursuit. Self-reflection turns the gaze inward, transforming external chaos into internal peace. In his dialogues, Socrates models this by admitting his own ignorance, inviting others to do the same. In the Apology, defending himself at trial, he reflects on his mission to awaken Athenians from complacency. This encourages us to pause amid life's rush, asking, does this choice honor my values? What does my heart truly seek? For decision-making, this principle is transformative. It helps navigate the fog of emotions and influences. In the career example from our outline, Socrates might probe, what does success mean to you? Why is this job worth your time? These questions reveal misalignment. Perhaps the role satisfies ego but starves the spirit. Through reflection, we realign, finding paths that resonate. Psychologically, self-reflection boosts emotional intelligence. Studies in mindfulness, inspired by Socratic introspection, show reduced stress and enhanced well-being. Practices like journaling echo this. Reflect on your day. What assumptions guided you? How can questions refine tomorrow? In relationships, it builds empathy. Why do I react this way? What values are at play? This deepens bonds, turning conflicts into growth opportunities. Historically, this principle influenced existentialists like Kierkegaard, who urged subjective truth through reflection. In education, Montessori methods encourage child-led inquiry, fostering lifelong self-awareness. To practice, set aside quiet moments, perhaps at dusk, as now. Ask, what values define me? How do my choices reflect them? Let answers emerge softly, without force. Integrating these principles, we see their synergy. Questioning uncovers assumptions, which spurs reflection, creating a cycle of wisdom. In Meno, this triad leads to aporia, fruitful doubt, then insight. Examples abound. In health, question a habit. Why smoke? Uncover assumptions. It relieves stress. Reflect. Does it align with vitality? Empowered change. In finance, question a purchase. Why now? Uncover status, driven assumptions, reflect on values like simplicity. Challenges exist. Over-reflection can paralyze. Balance with action. Socrates faced execution for his probing, a reminder to question wisely. Yet benefits endure. Clarity, resilience, authenticity. As night envelops us, embrace these principles. They are not burdens but gifts, guiding you to slumber's edge with a mind at ease. In education today, Socratic seminars revive this circles where questions drive discussion, building community. In law, cross-examination uncovers truths. In AI ethics, questioning assumptions about technology ensures humane progress. Personally, reflect on a past decision. What questions might have altered it? As we conclude this exploration, remember, the core principles are timeless companions. Question boldly, uncover gently, reflect deeply. Let them carry you into dreams where wisdom whispers eternally. As we glide further into the tranquil embrace of Socratic wisdom, dear listeners, let us now apply the Socratic method to everyday decisions. Picture yourself wandering through a misty forest at dawn, where each path represents a choice in life, and Socrates walks beside you, his steps soft on the dew-kissed earth. His questions are like gentle streams, carving clarity from the landscape of your thoughts. In this chapter, we will break down practical scenarios, weaving relatable examples that transform abstract principles into living tools for your daily journey. Feel the calm settle over you as we explore career paths, relationships, and big purchases, moments where inquiry turns confusion into peaceful resolution. Allow these stories to unfold like a lullaby, easing your mind toward restful horizons. Let us begin with career path decisions, a realm where many of us find ourselves at crossroads, the weight of ambition and security pressing gently upon our shoulders. Imagine a young professional named Alex, perched on the edge of a decision, a high-paying corporate job with predictable hours and benefits, or the unpredictable allure of a creative freelance career in graphic design. The corporate path gleams with stability, a steady paycheck, health insurance, and the prestige of a corner office. Yet the freelance life whispers of freedom, allowing Alex to chase passions like illustrating children's books or collaborating on indie projects. In the hush of evening reflection, Socrates appears not as a judge, but as a compassionate guide, his voice blending with the rustle of leaves. What makes the corporate job appealing to you? Socrates inquires softly, inviting Alex to peel back the layers. Alex might respond with thoughts of financial security, the ability to support a family, or the structure that wards off uncertainty. Socrates nods, his eyes kind under the fading light. And what are you sacrificing by choosing stability over creativity? This question lingers like a soft echo, prompting Alex to consider the loss of autonomy, the stifling of artistic impulses, or the long hours that might erode personal joy. Deeper still, how will this choice impact your happiness in 5 years? Here, the inquiry stretches time like a canvas, revealing visions of burnout in a cubicle or the fulfillment of building a portfolio that touches hearts. Through these Socratic probes, outcomes emerge like stars piercing the twilight. Alex uncovers whether security is a true value or a mask for fear of failure, perhaps rooted in childhood stories of parental struggles. Societal pressures the myth that success equals wealth, surface, and dissolve under gentle scrutiny. This method doesn't dictate, it illuminates, helping Alex weigh passion against practicality, perhaps discovering a hybrid path like part-time freelancing. In real life, countless individuals have used similar questioning to pivot careers. Consider the historical echo. Socrates himself, a stonemason turned philosopher, questioned the value of material pursuits, influencing thinkers like Epictetus, who taught that true wealth lies in virtue and self-mastery. Modern studies in positive psychology, such as those by Martin Seligman, affirm this reflective questioning boosts life satisfaction by aligning actions with intrinsic motivations. Expanding this application, think of broader career dilemmas. A mid-career switch from teaching to entrepreneurship might prompt, what draws you to this change? Why now? These reveal if the shift stems from burnout or genuine calling. In group settings, like career counseling, Socratic circles foster shared insights, reducing isolation. The beauty lies in its accessibility, no tools required. Just a quiet moment with pen and paper, listing questions and responses. As you listen, dear one, let this soothe any career anxieties you hold. Know that questioning is a bridge to authenticity, not a barrier. Now, as the forest path widens into a meadow bathed in moonlight, we turn to relationships, those tender threads that weave our emotional tapestry. Decisions here, like whether to stay in a partnership or gracefully move on, often swirl with feelings, making clarity feel elusive. Envision Elena in the soft glow of her living room lamp, pondering her long-term relationship with Jamie. Lately, doubts creep in, arguments over small things, a sense of stagnation. Yet, memories of shared laughter and support linger. Socrates materializes by the window, his presence a comforting shadow, beginning a dialogue that unfolds like a whispered conversation. "What does a healthy relationship look like to you?" he asks, his tone as warm as a hearth fire. Elena reflects mutual respect, open communication, shared growth. Why do you feel this relationship is worth your effort? This draws out positives: Jamie's kindness, their history, but also hesitations, like unequal emotional labor. Socrates probes further. What assumptions are you making about your partner's actions? Elena realizes she assumes Jamie's distance means disinterest, when it might stem from work stress. The exchange deepens. Socrates: "Tell me, Elena, why hold on amidst these storms?" Helena: "Because I love them and fear being alone." Socrates: "Ah, but is love the anchor, or is it the fear that binds? What if solitude brought space for your own blooming?" Helena: "I've assumed loneliness is failure, but perhaps it's a chance for self-discovery." Socrates: "And how does this align with your core values: growth, honesty, joy?" Through this gentle probing, emotional clarity dawns. Elena sees if the decision roots in genuine love or habit, fear of loneliness fading like morning mist. The outcome? A choice to communicate openly, perhaps revitalizing the bond or parting with grace. This mirrors Socratic influence in couples therapy, where methods like imago relationship therapy use questioning to uncover patterns. Historically, Plato's Symposium explores love through dialogues, Socrates questioning Eros to reveal its philosophical depths, love as a ladder to the divine. In friendships or family ties, apply similarly. Why does this conflict persist? What assumptions color my view? This fosters empathy, reducing resentment. For singles deciding on dating, questions like, "What qualities truly matter to me?" prevent settling. The method encourages alignment with core values, as Aristotle, Socrates' intellectual grandson, noted in his Ethics. Eudaimonia, or flourishing, arises from virtuous choices. Feel the peace in this. Listeners' relationships, when questioned thoughtfully, become havens of understanding, not battlegrounds. Shifting our gaze to a sunlit clearing, where material desires sparkle like dewdrops, we address big purchases, those tempting acquisitions that test our impulses. Consider buying an expensive item, like a new smartphone or car, where excitement often outpaces reason. Picture Marcus at an electronics store, eyeing a flashy gadget with the latest features, augmented reality, infinite battery life, or so the ads claim. The price tag stings, but the allure is strong. Socrates, ever the playful sage, joins him with a humorous glint in his eye, turning the moment into a light-hearted exchange. "Ah, Marcus, what need does this purchase fulfill?" Socrates queries, stroking his beard dramatically. Marcus chuckles. "Well, my old phone works, but this one has a better camera for my travel photos." Socrates, feigning surprise. "And what are you giving up to afford this shiny marvel? A weekend getaway, perhaps? Or savings for that dream vacation?" Marcus pauses. Yeah, it's a chunk of my budget." Socrates leans in conspiratorially. "Why is this item more important than other priorities? Is it the gadget's glow, or the status it whispers to your friends?" Marcus laughs. Okay, maybe it's a bit of showing off, but everyone has one." Socrates winks. "What if I questioned your next big purchase like this? Would the impulse survive the light of reason?" Through this fun banter, questions expose impulsive desires or status-driven motivations. Marcus weighs necessity versus want, perhaps realizing the old phone suffices, freeing funds for experiences. The outcome: mindful spending, reducing buyer's remorse. This echoes behavioral economics, like Daniel Kahneman's work on biases. Socratic questioning counters the endowment effect, where we overvalue the new. Extend to larger buys, like homes. What lifestyle does this house enable? Why prioritize size over location? Or vacations? How will this trip nourish your soul? In consumer culture, where ads bombard us, this method restores balance. Historically, Socrates lived simply, questioning material excess in dialogues like the Republic, advocating for a just soul over possessions. Modern minimalism movements draw from this, promoting joy through less. To integrate these applications, note the method's versatility. In health decisions, like dieting, why choose this plan? What assumptions about body image drive it? In time management, why say yes to this commitment? How does it align with priorities? Parents might use it with children. What makes this toy special? Why now? Fostering early wisdom. Challenges arise, overthinking can stall action. Socrates advises balance: question deeply, then decide boldly. In education, seminars apply this to ethical dilemmas, building decision-making skills. Psychologically, it enhances self-efficacy, as per Bandura's theory's mastery through reflection. Culturally, adaptations vary. In Eastern traditions like Confucian dialogues, questioning harmonizes relationships. In workplaces, agile methodologies use retrospectives akin to Socratic review. Personal stories abound. A friend once questioned a luxury watch purchase, uncovering it as compensation for insecurity, opting instead for meaningful travel. Such tales inspire. As we near the chapter's close, reflect: applying the Socratic method daily transforms chaos into calm. In careers, it charts true north. In relationships, it mends hearts. In purchases, it curbs folly. Let these scenarios linger in your dreams, guiding you to wiser tomorrows. In environmental choices, why drive when walking suffices? What assumptions about convenience ignore the planet? Promoting sustainability. In voting, what values does this policy uphold? Why support it? Enhancing civic engagement. The methods ripple. Better decisions foster ripple effects, happier lives, stronger communities. Embrace it gently, listeners. Start small, question with kindness. As night deepens, let peace envelop you. As we meander deeper into the tranquil groves of Socratic inquiry, dear listeners, let us now discover how to practice the Socratic method in daily life. Imagine yourself awakening to a soft morning light filtering through lace curtains, the world outside hushed and inviting. Socrates, that eternal wanderer of wisdom, extends a hand, guiding you not through grand philosophies, but through the simple rhythms of your day, toothbrush in hand, coffee brewing, decisions unfolding like petals in the dawn. This chapter is your gentle manual, a whisper of steps to weave questioning into the fabric of existence, turning ordinary moments into sanctuaries of self-discovery. Feel the calm envelop you as we explore asking open-ended questions, challenging assumptions, and engaging with others' practices that bloom into clarity, one breath at a time. Let us begin with the foundational practice, asking open-ended questions. This is the gateway to the Socratic method, a soft portal where curiosity reigns over certainty. Open-ended questions are those that cannot be answered with a mere yes or no. They invite exploration, like a path winding through an ancient forest, revealing hidden clearings along the way. Socrates mastered this art, using queries beginning with why, what, or how to probe the essence of things. In your daily life, start here when a decision arises, no matter how small. Picture yourself at breakfast, eyeing the array of choices, cereal or yogurt, routine or novelty. Instead of defaulting to habit, pause and ask, why do I want to take this action? What does this choice say about my morning intentions? How might it set the tone for my day? This practice is deceptively simple, yet profoundly transformative. It slows the mind's hurried pace, allowing space for reflection amid the bustle. In Plato's dialogues, such as the Theaetetus, Socrates employs these questions to explore knowledge itself. What is knowledge? How do we know what we know? He doesn't seek quick fixes. He cultivates depth. Apply this to your routine. When scrolling through your phone, ask, why am I reaching for this now? What am I seeking connection, distraction, or inspiration? How does this align with my deeper goals? Such inquiries reveal patterns, perhaps uncovering a habit of avoidance during stressful moments. Over time, they build a habit of mindfulness, reducing impulsive reactions and fostering a serene inner dialogue. To make it practical, start small and consistent. Set a gentle reminder, perhaps a note on your mirror or a phone alert at midday, to pose one open-ended question about a current task. For instance, while commuting, what makes this route preferable? Why not explore another? How could a change refresh my perspective? This isn't about overhauling your life overnight. It's about planting seeds of awareness that grow quietly. Modern psychology echoes this. In mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, open questions help reframe thoughts, combating anxiety by encouraging non-judgmental exploration. Studies from institutions like the University of Oxford show that such practices enhance emotional regulation, leading to greater well-being. As you listen, dear one, let this ease into your consciousness. Questioning is not interrogation, but a loving conversation with yourself. Building on this, consider layering questions for deeper insight. Begin with what to describe, move to why for motivation, and how for implications. Facing a work email that irks you? What is the core issue here? Why does it bother me? How might I respond in a way that honors my values? This sequence creates a ladder of understanding, much like Socrates' dialectical ascent in the Symposium, where questions elevate discourse from physical love to divine beauty. In everyday scenarios, it prevents knee-jerk decisions. Shopping for groceries. What need does this impulse buy fulfill? Why am I drawn to it now? How will it impact my health or budget? The result? More intentional living, free from regret's subtle sting. Challenges may arise, minds wander. Questions feel forced at first. Be gentle. Practice is a river, not a dam. Journal your queries and responses in the evening, reviewing them like a bedtime story. Over weeks, you'll notice shifts. Decisions feel lighter, more aligned. Historical figures like Marcus Aurelius, influenced by Socratic thought through Stoicism, journaled self-questions in his meditations. What am I doing with my soul? Emulate this for personal growth. In education, teachers use open questions to spark student curiosity, as in Montessori methods where children explore why the sky is blue. In your life, let it be a daily ritual, a soothing anchor amid chaos. Now, as the morning light strengthens into a golden hue, we turn to challenging assumptions, the art of pausing to identify and examine those unexamined beliefs that quietly steer our ship. Assumptions are the silent currents beneath our thoughts, often inherited from family, society, or past experiences, shaping decisions without our notice. Socrates excelled at this, famously declaring in the Apology that he was wise only in knowing his ignorance. To practice, cultivate the habit of pausing a deep breath, a moment of stillness when a belief surfaces. Ask, what am I assuming here? Is this based on evidence or habit? Take a common example, contemplating a job offer that promises prestige. You might think, this will make me happy. Pause and challenge. Am I assuming this job will make me happy Because others say it's prestigious? What if fulfillment comes from elsewhere? What evidence do I have from my own experiences? This gentle scrutiny uncovers layers, perhaps revealing societal pressures or fears of inadequacy. In the dialogue Charmides, Socrates challenges assumptions about temperance, leading interlocutors to redefine it through self-examination. Apply this to health choices. Assuming I need caffeine to function, ask, am I assuming this because of routine, or does rest serve me better? What happens when I challenge it? This practice fosters humility and adaptability, key to navigating life's uncertainties. In cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, therapists guide clients to question automatic thoughts, reducing distortions like all or nothing thinking. Research from the American Psychological Association indicates that challenging assumptions lowers stress levels, promoting resilience. Start by identifying triggers, moments of doubt or routine, and interject a pause. During a conversation, am I assuming their silence means disapproval? What other interpretations exist? This diffuses misunderstandings, enhancing relationships. To deepen, use a belief audit exercise. List 3 assumptions daily and probe them. For finances, am I assuming saving more is always better? Why? How might balance with enjoyment serve me? Socrates' method was communal, but solo practice builds inner strength. Historically, Renaissance humanists like Erasmus revived this, questioning dogmatic assumptions in education. In modern business, leaders like those at Pixar use brain trust meetings to challenge creative assumptions, sparking innovation. Feel the liberation. Listeners challenging assumptions is like shedding old leaves, allowing new growth in the soft soil of your mind. Engage actively. When an assumption feels sticky, verbalize it. I assume exercise is a chore. Why? What if I reframe it as self-care? This vocalization, even whispered, solidifies the practice. Over time, it becomes intuitive, weaving serenity into your days. Pitfalls include over-challenging, leading to doubt, balance with affirmation. Socrates faced accusations of corrupting youth for this, yet his legacy endures as a beacon of truth-seeking. As midday sun warms the earth, we arrive at engaging with others, the communal heart of the Socratic method, where solitary reflection blossoms into shared wisdom. Socrates thrived in dialogues, questioning friends in the marketplace to gain perspectives. Suggest practicing with a trusted friend or partner, turning conversations into collaborative explorations. Invite them. Let's try Socratic questioning on this decision. What do you think? Imagine discussing a vacation plan with a spouse. Instead of asserting preferences, ask, what makes this destination appealing to you? Why prioritize relaxation over adventure? How might we blend both? Their responses offer fresh angles, uncovering blind spots. In the Lysis, Socrates engages youths on friendship, using questions to reveal its essence through mutual inquiry. This builds empathy, strengthening bonds. In group settings, like book clubs, pose, what assumptions are we making about the character's motives? Why? This fosters inclusive dialogue. To start, choose low-stakes topics. Over dinner, why do we always watch this show? What else might we enjoy? How could variety enrich our evenings? Listen actively, responding with follow-ups rather than judgments. This mirrors therapeutic alliances in counseling, where Socratic dialogue helps clients gain insights from guided questions. Studies in social psychology, such as those on active listening, show it reduces conflicts and boosts satisfaction. Extend to professional realms. In meetings, ask colleagues, what underlying beliefs shape this strategy? How might alternatives serve us? This promotes innovation without confrontation. Historically, the Socratic seminar in schools encourages student-led questioning, developing critical thinking. In your life, it counters isolation. Digital age connections often lack depth. Socratic engagement revives them. Defensiveness may arise. Approach with curiosity. I'm exploring this, join me? Builds trust. For introverts, start via text or journal shared questions. Benefits ripple. Deeper relationships. Collective wisdom. As in Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, influenced by Socrates, friendship thrives on virtuous exchange. Integrating these practices open questions, challenging assumptions, engaging others creates a holistic routine. Mornings, solo questioning during routines. Afternoons, challenge assumptions in decisions. Evenings, engage loved ones in dialogue. Track progress in a journal, noting insights like fireflies in the dusk. Historical adaptations. Medieval scholastics like Abelard used disputation, questioning to refine theology. Modern apps like journaling tools prompt Socratic queries for mental health. Personal anecdotes. A friend practiced on commutes, transforming frustration into growth. Another engaged family, deepening ties. Pitfalls. Overuse leads to exhaustion. Set boundaries. Socrates' fate reminds us to question ethically. Benefits. Enhanced clarity, reduced regret, enriched life. As twilight falls, embrace this practice, a gentle current carrying you to wiser shores. In global contexts, indigenous storytelling circles echo Socratic engagement. In therapy, it's adapted for diverse cultures. Advanced tips. Combine with meditation question during breaths. For creativity, why this idea? What assumptions limit it? As we conclude, remember, practicing the Socratic method is a lifelong dance, graceful and forgiving. Let it infuse your days with peace, dear listeners, as you drift into slumber's embrace. As the velvet curtain of night draws closer, dear listeners, let us illuminate the profound benefits of the Socratic method for decision-making. Imagine yourself nestled in a cozy alcove by a flickering fireside, the flames casting dancing shadows that mimic the play of thoughts in your mind. Socrates, that humble seeker of truth, sits across from you, his gaze steady and reassuring, ready to reveal how his timeless art of questioning transforms the chaos of choices into a symphony of serenity. In this chapter, we shall explore these gifts: clarity, confidence, and the art of avoiding biases like treasures unearthed from ancient soil, each one polished by stories, insights, and gentle reflections. Allow these words to wrap around you like a warm shawl, easing the tensions of the day as we delve into how this method nurtures wiser, more peaceful paths through life. Let us first bask in the light of clarity, the foremost benefit that the Socratic method bestows upon our decision-making. Clarity emerges like dawn breaking over misty hills, separating the tangled vines of emotions from the sturdy branches of logic. In a world where feelings often cloud judgment, fear, whispering doubts, excitement urging haste, Socrates' questions act as a soft wind, dispersing the fog to reveal the landscape beneath. This separation is not cold detachment, but a harmonious balance, allowing us to honor our hearts while grounding them in reason. Recall the dialogue Meno, where Socrates engages in a quest to define virtue. Meno arrives burdened by abstract notions, his ideas swirling like autumn leaves in a gust. Socrates, with patient inquiries, what is virtue? Can it be taught? Gently disentangles emotions from assumptions, clarifying that virtue might be innate knowledge recollected through inquiry. The slave boy episode exemplifies this. Through questions alone, the boy arrives at geometric truths, his initial confusion giving way to crystalline understanding. No lectures, no impositions, just the quiet power of probing to illuminate what was obscured. In everyday decisions, this clarity shines brightly. Consider a moment of impulse, like reaching for a sugary treat amid stress. Emotions scream for comfort, but Socratic questions intervene. What emotion drives this choice? How does it truly serve my well-being? What logical alternatives exist? Suddenly, the haze lifts. You see the craving as a mask for fatigue, opting instead for a walk or deep breath. This benefit extends to complex arenas, such as financial planning. When pondering an investment, emotions might fuel greed or fear of loss. Asking, what facts support this opportunity? Why am I drawn to it now? How does it align with long-term logic? Separates hype from reality, preventing rash moves. Modern neuroscience affirms this. Studies from the Max Planck Institute show that reflective questioning activates the prefrontal cortex, enhancing rational processing while modulating the amygdala's emotional responses. In therapy, cognitive behavioral approaches inspired by Socratic dialogue help clients gain clarity on distorted thoughts, reducing anxiety disorders by up to 50% in clinical trials. Educators employ it too in Socratic seminars. Students dissect literature, emerging with sharper insights. For you, dear listener, this means decisions bathed in light, free from the shadows of regret. Let clarity soothe you now, a gentle stream washing away confusion, leaving only peaceful certainty. Yet, clarity alone is a foundation. Upon it builds the pillar of confidence, another radiant benefit that ensures our decisions align with personal values, thereby reducing the specter of regret. Confidence here is not bravado, but a quiet assurance, like the steady roots of an ancient oak anchoring it through storms. The Socratic method fosters this by turning inward, questioning until choices resonate with our core selves, creating a harmony that echoes long after the decision is made. Socrates embodied this in his life, facing trial in the Apology with unshakable poise, questioning his accusers and himself. Is this just? Does it honor truth? He aligned his defense with his values of wisdom and integrity, accepting death without remorse. This alignment breeds confidence, as decisions become extensions of our authentic being rather than fleeting whims. Apply this to personal stories, as in the tale of Sophia, a driven executive chasing promotions for years. She assumed success meant climbing the ladder, but Socratic reflection revealed otherwise. What does success mean to you? Why pursue this path? How does it reflect your values of family and creativity? These questions uncovered that her drive stemmed from parental approval, not inner fulfillment. Realizing this, she pivoted to a role allowing work-life balance, her confidence blooming as regret faded. No longer haunted by what-ifs, she embraced her choices with grace. In broader strokes, this benefit shines in ethical dilemmas. When facing a moral choice like whistleblowing at work, questions probe. What values are at stake? Why hesitate? How will this decision shape my self-view? Alignment emerges, bolstering resolve. Psychological research from Harvard's Decision Science Laboratory supports this. Individuals using reflective questioning report 30% higher confidence in outcomes, with lower post-decision dissonance. In leadership, executives trained in Socratic methods make bolder, value-driven calls, as seen in programs at Wharton Business School. For relationships, confidence grows when decisions honor mutual values. Deciding to commit, ask, does this partnership align with my ideals of trust and growth? Why commit now? The resulting surety reduces future doubts. Even in small acts, like setting boundaries, this method empowers. What value does saying no uphold? How does it protect my energy? Regret diminishes as choices feel inherently right. This confidence ripples outward, enhancing resilience. In uncertain times, job loss, health scares, Socratic inquiry anchors us. What core strengths do I hold? How can I align actions with them? As Epictetus, a Stoic influenced by Socrates, noted, we control not events, but our responses, aligned through reflection. Feel this confidence warm you, listeners, a soft glow within, illuminating paths without fear of stumbling. Now, as the fire's embers glow softer, we turn to the vital benefit of avoiding biases, where the Socratic method uncovers cognitive traps like hidden snares in a moonlit garden. Biases, confirmation bias, social pressure, anchoring lurk in our minds, steering decisions astray without our awareness. Socrates' questioning acts as a lantern, exposing these illusions and guiding us toward impartial truth. Confirmation bias, the tendency to favor information supporting our views, is a prime foe. In Meno clings to his definitions, but Socrates probes, what if virtue isn't teachable? Why assume it is? Force confrontation, dismantling the bias. Today, this helps in polarized debates, like politics. What evidence contradicts my stance? Why dismiss it? How might social circles reinforce this? Questions break the echo chamber, fostering balanced views. Social pressure, another trap, bows to group norms over individual truth. Socrates defied Athens' conventions, questioning idols in the Euthyphro. What makes an act pious? Why follow tradition blindly? This liberates us from conformity. In career choices, ask, am I pursuing this for approval or passion? What biases from peers influence me? Avoiding such traps prevents misguided paths, as in the story of Liam, who nearly entered medicine for family prestige. Socratic inquiry revealed his bias toward external validation. He chose environmental science instead, thriving without the weight of others' expectations. Anchoring bias, fixating on initial information, yields to questioning too. Negotiating a salary? Why anchor to the first offer? What fair value aligns with my skills? How might emotions skew this? This uncovers distortions. Behavioral economists like Daniel Kahneman praise Socratic techniques for debiasing, noting in Thinking, Fast, and Slow how inquiry shifts from intuitive System 1 to deliberate System 2 thinking. In investing, biases like loss aversion lead to poor choices. Questions probe, why fear this loss more than potential gain? What logic supports holding on? Reducing risks. In healthcare, avoiding availability bias, overemphasizing recent events through what comprehensive evidence exists? Why focus on anecdotes leads to informed treatments. This benefit extends to diversity and inclusion. Questioning implicit biases, what assumptions do I hold about this person? Why? Promotes equity. Organizational psychology studies show teams using Socratic methods reduce groupthink by 40%, innovating freely. Historically, the method influenced Enlightenment thinkers like Descartes, who doubted assumptions to reach certainty. In science, hypothesis testing mirrors this, questioning biases for empirical truth. Pitfalls exist. Over-questioning can induce paralysis, but balanced practice avoids this. Socrates' humility counters overconfidence bias, reminding us wisdom lies in ongoing inquiry. Integrating these benefits, clarity, sharpening focus, confidence fortifying resolve, bias avoidance ensuring fairness, creates holistic decision-making. In education, students gain lifelong skills. In therapy, clients heal. In business, leaders excel. Personal transformation stories abound. A retiree, questioning biases, embraced new hobbies without age. Related assumptions, finding joy. Another, gaining clarity on values, left a toxic job confidently. Culturally, adaptations vary. In Eastern philosophies, koan questioning debunks illusions. In African proverbs, inquiry avoids folly. Advanced applications. In AI ethics, Socratic methods question algorithmic biases. In environmental policy, they clarify sustainable choices. As we near repose, reflect. These benefits are gifts, turning decisions into art, clarity illuminates, confidence empowers, bias, avoidance liberates. Let them cradle you into dreams, where wisdom whispers eternally. In global challenges, like climate action, questioning biases reveals collective paths. In personal growth, they reduce life's regrets. Embrace them gently, listeners. The Socratic method isn't a tool but a companion, benefiting every step with grace. As the whispers of wisdom soften into twilight hues, dear listeners, let us now navigate the common pitfalls of the Socratic method and how to avoid them. Imagine yourself strolling along a winding path through an ancient woodland, where shafts of fading sunlight filter through the canopy, casting long, gentle shadows. Socrates walks beside you once more, not as an infallible oracle, but as a fellow traveler who knows the trail's hidden snags, the overgrown roots that might trip the unwary seeker. This chapter is a map of caution, drawn with care to guide you around these obstacles, ensuring your journey into inquiry remains a source of peace rather than perplexity. We shall explore excessive questioning that leads to paralysis, the defensiveness that arises from uncomfortable probes, and the lack of focus that scatters the mind like leaves in a breeze. Each pitfall, like a quiet lesson from the forest, comes with remedies as soothing as a herbal balm, allowing you to continue with grace and equilibrium. Breathe deeply now. Feel the earth's steady rhythm beneath your feet, and let these insights lull you into a deeper understanding, one that cradles rather than confounds. Let us first tread carefully around the pitfall of excessive questioning, which can entangle the mind in a web of endless inquiry, leading to analysis paralysis, a state where decisions freeze like a river in winter's grasp. Socrates himself, that tireless questioner, warned against the dangers of overthinking. His method was meant to liberate, not imprison. In the hustle of daily life, it's easy to fall into this trap. You begin with a simple choice, say, selecting a new book to read, and soon the questions cascade: why this genre? What assumptions lie in my preferences? How will it shape my thoughts? Until hours slip away and no book is chosen at all. This excess stems from the method's very strength, its invitation to depth. But unchecked, it transforms reflection into rumination, where the mind circles endlessly, draining energy and stalling action. Picture a lighthearted scene to illustrate, as if from a whimsical dream. A young wanderer named Theo stands at a quaint coffee stall in the morning mist, steam rising like ethereal spirits from the brews. Eager to apply Socratic wisdom, Theo begins, "What makes this latte appealing? Why not black coffee for simplicity? How does caffeine align with my day's intentions? What assumptions do I hold about productivity?" On and on the questions flow, delving into the ethics of dairy, the origins of beans, even the barista's smile. Minutes turn to an hour, the line grows restless, and Theo departs empty-handed, his mind a whirl but his cup unfilled. In this humorous overanalysis, we see the imbalanced reflection devouring action, leaving only exhaustion in its wake. Historically, this pitfall echoes through philosophy. Socrates' contemporaries accused him of sophistry, endless quibbling that led nowhere, as in Aristophanes' satirical play The Clouds, where Socrates is depicted floating in a basket, lost in absurd contemplations. Yet Plato's dialogues show balance. Questions serve to resolve, not prolong. Aporia, that fruitful confusion leading to insight. In modern psychology, this aligns with overthinking research by Susan Nolan Hoeksema, whose studies at Yale revealed that excessive rumination heightens depression and anxiety, impairing decision-making. Neuroscientists note that prolonged questioning activates the brain's default mode network excessively, fostering worry loops rather than resolutions. To avoid this snare, set a time limit for reflection, a gentle boundary like a sand timer in the forest of your thoughts. Dedicate, say, 10 minutes to questioning a decision, then commit to action. This mirrors cognitive behavioral techniques, where therapists advise scheduled worry time to contain overanalysis. In practice, for that coffee order, question briefly, why this brew today? Then choose with a smile, trusting the process. Socrates might whisper, inquiry is a tool, not a chain. Use it to free yourself, then step forward. This remedy restores flow, turning potential paralysis into purposeful movement. Over time, it builds intuition, where questions enhance rather than hinder, like a stream that nourishes without flooding the banks. Incorporate mindfulness. When questions multiply, pause and breathe, asking a meta question, is this deepening clarity or delaying joy? Journaling helps to note queries and set a page limit, preventing sprawl. In professional settings, like brainstorming sessions, facilitators use timed Socratic rounds to harness depth without descent into deadlock. Educators adapt this in classrooms, allotting fixed periods for inquiry to teach balance. For personal growth, apps with timers can prompt reflective pauses without overrun. Remember, the goal is harmony. Question enough to illuminate, then act with the light you've gained. As twilight deepens around us, feel this avoidance strategy soothe you, a reminder that wisdom whispers, enough is as good as a feast. Shifting our path slightly, where the woodland thickens with underbrush, we encounter defensiveness, the emotional thorn that pricks when questioning assumptions feels like an assault on the self. This pitfall arises because our beliefs are woven into our identity. Probing them can evoke discomfort, like stirring a nest of slumbering birds. Socrates often faced this in his interlocutors. In the gorgeous, rhetorician Callicles grows irate as questions expose his views on power, retorting with defensiveness rather than openness. It's a human response, the ego's shield rising against perceived threats, turning inquiry into confrontation. Acknowledge this gently. Questioning isn't judgment but exploration, yet it can unearth vulnerabilities. For instance, challenging an assumption like, I must always be productive, might reveal fears of worthlessness, stirring unease. In relationships, when engaging others Socratically, their defensiveness might manifest as resistance. Why are you interrogating me? This halts dialogue, breeding frustration instead of insight. Lighten this with our coffee example extended. Theo, now questioning his habit with a friend, probes too sharply. Why do you need that extra shot? Isn't it just masking fatigue? The friend bristles, feeling criticized, and the conversation sours like overbrewed beans. Here, defensiveness derails the method's cooperative spirit, turning a shared cup into spilled tension. Psychologically, this ties to cognitive dissonance theory by Leon Festinger. When questions challenge beliefs, discomfort arises, prompting defense mechanisms like denial or rationalization. Studies in social psychology, such as those from the University of California, show that defensiveness spikes in high-stakes inquiries, reducing learning. Historically, Socrates' trial in 399 BCE stemmed partly from this. Athenians defended their traditions against his probes, labeling him a corrupter. To avoid it, approach with curiosity, not judgment, a mindset shift like viewing assumptions through a lens of wonder. Frame questions softly. Instead of, why do you believe that? Try, I'm curious what draws you to that idea. This invites rather than accuses. Self-compassion is key. When questioning yourself, affirm, this is growth, not flaw. In therapy, motivational interviewing uses this empathetic style, rolling with resistance to foster change. Practice active listening. Echo responses without critique, building trust. For groups, establish ground rules. We're exploring together, no right or wrong. In education, teachers model vulnerability, sharing their own questioned assumptions to normalize discomfort. Gradually expose yourself. Start with low emotion topics, like preferences in music, before deeper values. Mindfulness meditation aids, cultivating detachment from ego. Socrates exemplified curiosity in his humility, admitting ignorance to disarm defenses. Let this remedy calm you. Defensiveness melts in curiosity's warmth, like ice under spring Sunday. As our woodland path opens into a clearing, bathed in the last glow of day, we address lack of focus, the scattering of inquiry across too many fronts, leading to overwhelm like a flock of birds startled into chaotic flight. This pitfall dilutes the method's power. Instead of delving deeply into one decision, the mind jumps between many, fragmenting energy and yielding shallow insights. Socrates cautioned against this in his focused dialogues, tackling one concept at a time: virtue in Meno, justice in the Republic, avoiding the sprawl that confuses. In daily life, it's tempting. Facing a career choice, questions spill into relationships, finances, health, until the mind reels. Overwhelm ensues, decisions deferred amid mental clutter. Revisit Theo. Emboldened, he questions not just coffee but breakfast, outfit, commute, all at once. By noon, he's overwhelmed, focus shattered like a dropped mug. This humorous excess shows imbalance. Reflection becomes a blizzard, obscuring the path. Cognitively, this relates to attention research by Daniel Kahneman. Multitasking inquiry overloads working memory, impairing judgment. Studies from Stanford University link divided focus to higher stress and lower productivity. Philosophically, Aristotle, building on Socrates, advocated moderation, the golden mean between deficiency and excess. To avoid, stick to one decision at a time, a focused beam rather than diffused light. Prioritize. What choice needs attention now? Use lists to park others. In practice, for a busy day, question only the pressing meeting, deferring rest. Time blocking helps. Dedicate slots for single inquiries. In teams, agendas keep Socratic discussions on track. For self-practice, mindfulness anchors focus. Breathe. Center on one query. Tools like mind maps organize, preventing sprawl. Socrates' method was dialogic, but solitary focus builds discipline. Integrating pitfalls. Excessive questioning feeds lack of focus. Defensiveness amplifies overwhelm. Remedies interconnect time limits, curb excess, and maintain focus. Curiosity eases defensiveness, allowing concentrated exploration. Stories illustrate. A seeker over questioned life changes, paralyzed. Limiting to one weekly decision brought progress. Another defended assumptions rigidly. Curiosity unlocked focus. Historically, Renaissance thinkers like Montaigne questioned selectively in essays, avoiding overwhelm. Modern apps guide focused reflection. Advanced tips. Meta question. Is this focused? Combine with exercise for clarity. As night falls softly, reflect. Pitfalls are teachers, avoidance their lessons. Balance inquiry with action, curiosity with compassion, focus with flow. Let this chapter cradle you into slumber, wisdom's gentle guardian. In cultural adaptations, Zen balances questioning with presence. Indigenous circles focus communally. Benefits of avoidance. Enhanced efficacy, reduced stress, deeper joy. Embrace gently, listeners. The Socratic path, navigated wisely, leads to peaceful dawns. As we draw the silken threads of our exploration to a gentle close, dear listeners, let us connect back to Socrates' philosophy, a luminous bridge spanning the chasms of time, linking ancient wisdom to the quiet decisions of our modern lives. Envision us now in the hushed amphitheater of the soul, where the echoes of Athenian debates mingle with the soft rustle of turning pages in your own story. Socrates, that enigmatic figure with his probing eyes and unyielding curiosity, beckons us to reflect on how his teachings infuse every facet of the method we've journeyed through. This final chapter is our farewell embrace, a soothing synthesis that reminds us true philosophy is not a distant relic, but a living companion, whispering humility and insight into our ears as we navigate the world's complexities. Allow these words to settle like falling petals, carrying you toward the peaceful repose that awaits. At the heart of Socrates' philosophy lies the unyielding pursuit of truth through dialogue, a principle vividly captured in Plato's Meno. This dialogue serves as a cornerstone, illustrating how questioning dismantles the illusions of assumed knowledge. Meno, a confident young nobleman, approaches Socrates with queries about virtue. Can it be taught, or is it innate? Socrates, ever the midwife of ideas, refrains from direct answers. Instead, he counters with questions that expose Meno's superficial definitions. Tell me, Meno, he begins, what is virtue? Is it different for men and women, slaves and free? Meno offers examples managing estates well for a man, household duties for a woman, but Socrates probes deeper. These are instances, but what unites them? What essence defines virtue across all? Through this elenchus, or refutative cross-examination, Meno's certainties crumble, leading to aporia, that productive state of confusion where genuine learning begins. The slave boy demonstration in Meno exemplifies Socrates' belief in anamnesis, the recollection of innate knowledge. Socrates draws a square in the sand and asks the uneducated boy to double its area. The boy errs initially, suggesting a side twice as long, but Socrates guides him gently. If the side is 2 units, what is the area? Now, how might we form a square twice that size? Question by question, without teaching facts, the boy remembers the solution, using the diagonal to create a new square. This moment reveals Socrates' conviction that knowledge resides within the soul, awaiting elicitation through inquiry. In our context, it underscores how the Socratic method in decision-making revives dormant insights. When facing a dilemma, like choosing between comfort and growth, we don't need external experts. We question to recollect our inner truths, separating fleeting desires from enduring values. This philosophy culminates in Socrates' profound humility, encapsulated in his famous assertion, "I know that I know nothing." Delivered during his trial in the Apology, this statement wasn't false modesty, but a radical acknowledgement of human limits. The Delphic oracle had proclaimed him the wisest man, yet Socrates interpreted this as wisdom in recognizing ignorance. While sophists and politicians boasted expertise, he roamed Athens questioning them, exposing pretensions. "You think you know justice," he might say to a statesman, "but can you define it without contradiction?" This humility invites us to approach decisions with open minds, free from the arrogance that breeds error. In daily life, it tempers overconfidence. Before committing to a relationship or investment, pause and admit, what do I truly know here? What assumptions cloud my view? Such self-awareness reduces regret, fostering decisions grounded in honest exploration rather than illusion. Socrates' emphasis on the examined life further cements his relevance. In the Apology, he declares, "The unexamined life is not worth living," a call to perpetual self-scrutiny. His life embodied this eschewing wealth and power for philosophical dialogues in the marketplace, even facing death for his principles. Condemned for corrupting youth and impiety, he chose hemlock over exile, questioning his accusers until the end. This resilience inspires us in modern ethical choices, where societal pressures often eclipse personal integrity. Consider environmental decisions amid climate crises. Socrates would ask, "What virtue demands of us here? Why assume individual actions are futile?" His method encourages alignment with eudaimonia, or human flourishing, prioritizing moral clarity over convenience. The timelessness of Socrates' philosophy shines in its adaptability to contemporary dilemmas. In career paths where automation and gig work disrupt traditions, his questioning uncovers true calling. What does success mean beyond salary? Why pursue prestige if it erodes joy? Drawing from Meno, we recollect innate potentials, perhaps shifting from corporate ladders to entrepreneurial ventures that honor creativity. In relationships, his humility counters ego. What do I not know about my partner's heart? How might assumptions hinder love? Ethical quandaries, like AI governance or social justice, benefit from his elenchus. What biases lurk in our policies? Why assume technology always advances virtue? Philosophers like Hannah Arendt echoed this in examining totalitarianism, questioning unthinking obedience. Socrates' influence permeates history, seeding Plato's forms, Aristotle's ethics, and Stoicism's inner citadel. Renaissance thinkers revived his dialogues for humanism. Enlightenment figures like Voltaire championed doubt against dogma. Today, in cognitive therapy, Aaron Beck's Socratic questioning reframes distortions, alleviating mental health struggles. Educational reforms, inspired by his seminars, prioritize critical thinking over memorization. Even in digital ethics navigating misinformation or privacy, his quote humbles us. Admit ignorance, question sources, and decide wisely. As this chapter, our final reverie, fades into the night's embrace, I encourage you to weave Socrates' philosophy into your tapestry. Try the method on a small decision tonight. Question why you choose that bedtime ritual and share your revelations in the comments. What grand choice beckons you? How might Socrates illuminate it? Let's converse below. Subscribe for more whispers of practical philosophy or download the worksheet to guide your inquiries. Good night, dear dreamers. May Socrates' questions cradle your slumber, awakening you to a life richly examined.